And welcome into another episode of Tiger Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network, a Detroit Tigers podcast. I'm Kieran Steckley. We got Austin Jackson. We got Cody Stavenhagen. And we got good vibes. The Tigers won a game today, Sunday, 10-4. Kind of a long game there at the end, but that's okay. We get to talk about a Tigers win that makes the mood all that much better. I just want to start there, Cody, and we'll get to Austin in a second. Winning clubhouse. What was that like? Seemed like some nice little country.
I'd kind of forgotten what it felt like, right? If we would be recording Saturday, man, I don't know. Vibes weren't good.
Yeah.
Vibes weren't good, and the vibes aren't supposed to be good. So I don't think that's an indication of the players or whatever. You lose 12 or 13, you can't really expect good vibes. But I think it was starting to set in. It was starting to get frustrating. It was starting to get kind of just depressing, man. Wasn't really a fun place to be there for a little bit. And we'll see how the Tigers respond coming up against Arizona, going forward into August. But it's got to start with one, right? And they finally got one. I thought it was going to come sooner than it did, but they finally got one. I think it was a little bit of a relief, a little bit of an exhale. Everyone got to smile, have some fun again. Austin, you can probably provide a lot better perspective on what it's like going through those things as a player, but vibes Sunday, way better than they had been the past few days.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you let wins and losses dictate you showing up to the ballpark and being just happy to be there, man. Like, happy to show up to your job each and every day and do your job. Dude, we knew this was going to happen, right? Like, we talked about it. Like, when was it going to happen? When were they going to kind of face that little bump in the road? And they've had little spurts of it earlier in the season previous, to this, and they kind of got out of it really quick. So it kind of erased that. Any doubts or thoughts in your mind that, they're still good. This has been a little bit of an extended, stretch of where they haven't been playing the best baseball. But what really changes? Like, I know as fans, we look at it and we're like, man, they're struggling. They need to do this. Trade deadline is coming. Hey, they need to make these big trades. Just know you're gonna have to give something up though for that. Like, you don't have to give up the future. That's one thing. But this team, they're still good though. Like, they have a lot of the good teams have been through this. We watched the Dodgers get thumped for a little bit. We still know they're the Dodgers though. And at the end of the day, like, we don't, like, a lot of teams really don't want to face them like that, like, especially late in the season, not in the playoffs. You're trying to knock them out. So these teams the Tigers have a target on their back. So when teams are playing them, they're giving them the best. You're playing against one of the best teams from a statistical standpoint, and they're giving them their best. The Blue Jays have really, they gave the Tigers everything they got. If you look at how they played against the Tigers, I mean, that team looks like like they got Hall of Famers up and down the lineup, and it's like, we know what it is. This Tiger team is facing a little bump in the road. It was great today to see them get back to scoring runs. That's what this is going to take. This team has scored runs. Before the All-Star break, they were right around 5 runs, and they took a little dip. The pitching is still, consistent, staying on that same level that they've been at pretty much the whole year. The offense took a little dip, and again, I think it's just because a lot of the teams that are coming in, any teams they're facing on the road, hey, they know what this Tiger team is capable of, so they're giving them everything they got.
I think it's interesting to look at some of the numbers of just how bad this losing streak was. Like, I think even last time we talked, it was like, okay, well, they're probably going to come out of this. You get back home, whatever, you go through these stretches. But it did extend, and then the Tigers are the only team in modern history to have a 13-game span where they get outscored by 50 or more runs, where they get out hit by 50 or more hits, where they have fewer than 25 extra base hits, and where you strike out 125 or more times. That's a lot going on there. That tells you that this became more than a rough patch, more than a bump in the road. It was actually like a historically bad 13 games. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what that means going forward. I'm not sure it's even wise to try to predict. I mean, I think we've talked about like there's a lot of evidence, Austin, to your point, like that this is a good team. The run differential, the way they've played over 100 games. Now maybe this is great. Maybe this means they're just going to be due to get on fire in September. I think we could expect some regression, especially offensively. When you had guys like Baez, like McKinstry, and others, Dylan Dingler, who's actually still hitting pretty well. I think it was reasonable that some of these guys were going to cool off, that some of these guys maybe weren't going to play as well in the second half as they did the first. August, it's going to be important to get some contributions for some guys we haven't been talking about as much. Parker Meadows being a huge one. Total X factor there. Matt Vierling. Some of these guys who've been rusty, like if some of these other guys level off, I think that's who the Tigers are looking to pick up the slack, and that's going to end up being as important, if not more important, than anything they do at the trade deadline.
Right, and I've made this point before in regards to like team additions, like getting a healthy Carpenter is a team addition. It's not a, and we'll talk about him here in a second. It's not a, new to the season addition, but it is an addition. Parker Meadows giving you something offensively, which it seems like he's starting to see the ball a little bit better, and he's stringing together hits at a better clip. So maybe that's a sign. But I said last week, Austin, I was like, there is this stretch that they're in is going to be remembered as a part of the team story. Regardless, the tone is what's going to change. Like, oh, they went through that patch and then they became division champions, American League champions, World Series champions, whatever. Or they went through that rough patch and it just was this colossal slide into mediocrity or worse. And so, like, a day like today was, I'm sure for the players much needed, but a day like today was a good reminder for baseball, for fans, for commentators, media, of like what this team is capable of, because quite frankly, just hadn't seen it in a bit. And if there's ever a time for recency bias, trade deadline and the intensity of that, those are moments that are ripe for that kind of emotion. And it feels good to see them kind of stick to their process. You bring that up all the time, Austin. It's good to see them stick to their process and have the right attitude. AJ with his leadership, I feel like is definitely a big part of that. The leadership example, Tarek Skubal has also, been outspoken about this. Like, how big is leadership in a clubhouse, either from player or coach, when everything is going wrong, it seems like, and you can do no right? Like, how important, you obviously played for some great leaders and with some great leaders. How important is that element to kind of getting out of the rut?
Leadership, I think, is something that's it's not really understood. I mean, yeah, we know you have your leaders, and a lot of the times I think the leaders are looked at as the guys that are doing the best, the all-stars, the future Hall of Famers, but there's so much more to it than just those guys. I mean, there's guys that are utility guys. Don Kelly, when I played, for the Tigers team, he was a leader. He was a leader. He wasn't the most outspoken leader, but you followed DK, man, because he had this presence about him, and that's in a locker room. There has to be multiple leaders. There has to be those veteran leaders. There has to be the all-stars. That kind of comes with the territory, right? But then there's just the veteran guys, the guys that have been around the most, the guys that have experienced the downs, the dips in the season. And then there's, the young guys. There's some young guys that kind of carry that leadership role as well. I remember when I was with the Cleveland, the Indians at the time, and at the time I had more time than Francisco Lindor. But it was the way that he carried himself on a daily basis, and that's something that's needed. You need a few different leaders in that locker room to keep things smooth, keep things going, knowing when, hey, we're going through a tough patch right here, but we're still getting our work in each and every day. We're still enjoying each other. There's still a brotherhood. We're still coming here to this ballpark, enjoying each other, and making sure, hey, I'm holding you accountable, hold me accountable. That's just what it is in a locker room. There's so many different aspects to being a leadership in a locker room, and it's not just one guy. It's not just Scooble. It's not just Green. It's really like a village in there, and it takes a number of guys to kind of step up and take that leadership role in whatever it looks like. Whatever it looks like for that particular person, they have to do that. If you're the guy that gets everybody, espresso shots every day, we expecting them espresso shots every day. We need them because that's what it takes. That's what keeps this engine going. That's what keeps it lubed up is everybody doing their part. So I believe that's what they're doing. I don't think obviously you said that, the mood in the clubhouse has been a little different. Nobody likes to lose. These guys are, they've been on a historic pace, for this organization, and to take a little dip, which we talked about that, it's a little surprising because of this lead that they've built. But hey, like I keep mentioning, like teams are coming for you. They're not going to lay down just because you got one of the best records. And fortunately enough, they have built up a little bit of a cushion to where something like this, it doesn't hurt as much. But as fans, we look at it like, hey, yeah, hey, I need to get it going. They're coming. They're 8 games. They're not, 7.5 games. Hey, that's kind of creeping. But I don't think they need to get away from who they are. This game is played way differently than when I played, to where the manufacturer runs, you had to play a little small ball, but you see, today they get back, they ignite that offense with a boom, with a bomb. That's valued a little bit more. So like a shooter in basketball, if you're a 37, 39% 3-point shooter and you're struggling the past 3-4 games, what are they going to tell you? They just keep shooting the ball, right? They ain't gonna tell you, hey, let's start changing mechanics. No, keep swinging the bat. This is what got y'all here. Eventually, it's going to turn around. We've seen it, like I said, with LA. They went through a little stretch. Even watched it with the Guardians. They went through a little stretch. Came out of it with a I think it was a grand slam in Houston. It's like, oh, I thought y'all should be button runners over. No, it's just a big hit in a big moment can ignite a team, and that's what happened today.
All right, I'm going to ask Cody what was the best sign from Sunday moving forward. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Kratz, at some point, we're going to laugh about how healthcare was so reactive and not proactive. And we're starting to change that with Superpower. They believe every human has 100+ year potential, and they're here to help you get there. I'm a big believer in this. I just started the journey, so I'm excited about it. And what do you think?
As a player, you're always looking ways to improve yourself, improve your health. And this is an easy way. Superpowers made it way easier than when I was playing. You had to go get all these lab panels, and it was a long, drawn-out, expensive process. But now with Superpower, so this is awesome for me. I'm excited about it.
They'll send a licensed professional to your home, or you can visit a nearby lab. For a limited time, the FT fam can get $50 off an annual Superpower membership by using code FOUL at checkout. Just head to superpower.com and use code FOUL to get our exclusive discount, your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and please support FT and tell them we sent you.
All right, coming back here, Cody. So 10 runs, including an onslaught there in the 8th, and it was a lot of like exercising of demons is really what that looked like for the Tigers at the plate. But also Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty was on it today, Cody. So like we've done a lot of Jack talks. We know how important run scoring is. Ajax talked about that. But like, what was the best sign moving forward for this team? The offense is just kind of letting the floodgates open, or Jack Flaherty shutting them down for a hot Toronto team.
Jack was great, man. Jack had an impeccable outing. Like he was terrific. We've seen a lot of up and down out of Jack this year, though. So I want to see him string together a few starts before I declare anything there. Speaking of stringing together things, I think the best thing was that 8th inning. The Tigers strung together a few different quality at bats. They hung in there. They fouled off some tough pitches. They scored 6 runs with 2 outs. Got a little bit of batted ball luck. Also hit a couple balls pretty well. Like that was really what we just had not been seeing. Every now and then you'd get a big hit or a good at bat, and then there would just be this drought, man. And in the 8th inning Sunday, up and down the order, pretty much every guy gave you something quality. They were able to run the bases, aggressively, which they hadn't been able to do because they didn't have any traffic on the bases. It's hard to describe like what causes that, what causes it to magically come back, but the return of multiple quality at bats in a row was a sight for sore eyes. I also got to point out, at least one Twitter account's going to be mad at this, but I think the biggest story of Sunday was Kerry Carpenter. Like, he didn't get any hits, but he's back. This guy's a difference maker in your lineup when he's right. Obviously, he has to hit better than the 194 or whatever it is he hit in June. This guy has not walked since the end of May. That's going to have to change. But to come off the IL, this is a big guy in the middle of your order. This is one of your better hitters. And I think this is the queen on AJ Hinch's chessboard. Like, we all know that. And if you don't understand how he affects the rest of the lineup, then you probably haven't been paying attention to the Tigers. Even in the 8th inning, Kieran, there are 2 outs, and the Blue Jays bring in a lefty because Carp is up. Carp, all right, you're out of the game. Veerling's up. This is how the Tigers play. Base hit. Now, also, none of this happens if Riley doesn't get a single against a lefty, which he actually has not been doing much of this year. So that helps. And then you have a run of good matchups. You have 3 guys in a row who fare well against left-handed pitching, and you're able to tack on those insurance runs that ended up being needed based on how the 9th unfolded. None of that happens if Kerry Carpenter's not on this roster. Huge, huge, huge to get him back. You just have to hope he can perform like the best version of Kerry that we've seen.
Yeah, I like Carp being back, man. Like you said, I mean, you said it perfectly. Like, it's something to do with a presence in that lineup, and you know what he can do. One swing of the bat can change the game, and that's what he brings. He the element of we have to switch things up. We got to go to the bullpen. We got to bring in a lefty to face him, and I like that. I like that they have to that he adds that type of depth to this lineup to make teams think. They have to strategically bring in different relievers to try to face him. And
Austin, in the 3rd inning, does Max Scherzer challenge Gleyber Torres with a fastball if he doesn't know Kerry Carpenter's sitting there on deck?
Hey, you said it, dude. You feel me? Like, you see what I'm saying? No, but straight up though, like, that's the type of things that he can add. Like, that's the type of bat that's so dangerous that they're sitting over there thinking about that. So he probably doesn't even challenge him like that, right? Like, I mean, but another thing too, Gleyber was locked in though. He was locked in up the middle, part of the field, and you still got to hit it. But that was a swing that, nobody's really taking those type of swings off Scherzer like that today. And Scherzer, he's a different bird when he'll really lock it in those moments. Left a pitch over the plate. Gleyber has been doing a great job of staying in that right center field gap. That's when he's going good, when he's in that right center field gap. And
he was in an 0 for 16 before that at bat. Came out of it in a big way.
Came out of it, and that's his game. I feel like that's his game. I feel like his game is that right center field gap, right field. He can let the ball travel better than most. In the major leagues, to let that ball travel. Except what's the catcher for the Blue Jays? Boom. What's his name?
It was Heineman today.
What's the
Kirk? He's on the IL now.
What's the guy that hit the double off of Scoob yesterday?
Scoob, that was Kirk, right? And then he left the game after that.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying to be able to, that right field, right center field approach, it was great to see, man. That I think he's gonna get locked in right now after this game. I mean, off Scherzer, that's a confidence builder. And not only that, to see, that he's one of those leaders in that clubhouse, right? Like, he's a guy that when he's going, this team is going.
Absolutely.
Well, we mentioned him a couple times here, and we're going to ask Austin for a little bit of insight on what it's like to be a teammate of our old pal, Max Scherzer. But first, a word from our sponsors. Nothing says summer like long days, clutch plays, and firing off a few bets on the game, all with DraftKings Sportsbook. Never bet on baseball before? It's easy. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. It's code FOUL for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. All right, coming back here, you guys watching on YouTube, you see right above my head, that's a signed Max Scherzer photograph I got in my office here, a Christmas gift years ago. And he was a lot of fun to watch back in the day, and just as a fan of baseball, he was a lot of fun to watch today. He went 7. He gave up that 3-run bomb to Glaber. But other than that, he was lights out, 11 Ks. He looked like classic Max. I don't want to say old Max, but he looked like classic Max. And so I wanted to know what it's like to be his teammate. So I'll just give the floor to you, Austin. You play with him. You guys were, technically came to the organization literally at the same time on the same day. So what's it like being Max Scherzer's teammate?
Mad Max. That's different. Everybody, they see the different color eyes. They see, just the image of him. I think you're just like, he got 2 different eyes. That's different. I ain't never seen that. That's a little off. So you like he's a little off. He's a little off too, by the way. He's not just a normal cat, but like on-field Max and off-field Max is 2 completely different dudes. Even though off the field Max is still he off. He ain't all the way on. But on-field Max is just a different bird, man. I remember, I don't even think this was like, I don't want to say like it's like a milestone game for him or anything, but this just speaks to, his intensity and just, how locked in he is during the game. I remember he had like a good inning. I definitely can't remember the type of inning. I just remember what happened following that inning. I remember we got to the top step. Like I ran in fast because I wanted to meet him at that top step to let him know how good he did, right? And I look at him, I'm like, that a boy, Max. And I hit him on his chest. And he's like, yeah. And he hit me back. I was like, damn, that's kind of hard. I was like, yeah, that a boy. So I hit him harder. And then yeah, wow. He hit me back. I'm like, shoot. I said, yo, right now I had to make a decision. Like, do I hit him back? Because that lick he just gave me is warranted for me to swing. Like now, when you're little and you get in a little slap box and you kind of slap and somebody hits you good and then you hit them good, it hits you back, and then it's like it turned into knuckles now. Like I was like, yo, this dude, but I didn't know. I was like, should I give him that because he needs it? Like it's almost like he needed that. Like he needed me to hit him back hard, like, yeah, so I can use it. And I was looking at his eyes and they were all wide, and you got the white eye and the brown eye, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna stop right there. We got it in. We got it in. I owe him a lick though, because the lick that I was giving him wasn't like mine was like, yeah, that a boy. And he was like, yeah, pow. And I was like, ooh, that's a tough one. So I gave him one back, like, yeah, boy, let's go. And he bowed. I was like, yo, are we hey, I'm telling you, good job. This ain't a fight. It's good job, Max. Good job. And so that speaks to his intensity though. Like he was that locked in. I could have did that to anybody else, and they probably would just took it. But Max, he was like, "No, bring it, bring that." And you see it from him, man. Every time he pitches, I'm like, "This dude's he's the same guy." Like it looks like he just, like he doesn't. I don't care if I hit you in the neck or I paint one down in a way. Like he has this intensity about it, and I love it, man. As a playing behind him, you love that, bro. Like you love to see the intensity from your starting pitcher, pitchers in general. Like I loved it. I love to see when guys like cared about their job. They cared that they walked the guy. You know what I'm saying? Walk the bases loaded or walk the first hitter. Like that kept me engaged. When you're out there, you don't care. It's hard to be engaged. But when guys are when your pitchers are engaged, like a Max Scherzer, man, it was fun, dude. It was fun to play behind that because you knew every single game he pitched, you knew that he was going to give it his all, man. And it's incredible to see him. What is he, 41?
Turned 41 today.
41, bro, and still out there like contributing to a major league team. It just speaks to volume, the type of pitcher he is, and then the preparation that he really puts into his craft, man. It's unbelievable.
Kind of overlooked. I don't know if it's overlooked if you're watching the game, but like Tigers scored 3 off Max, and they ended up having a great day. But other than one inning, Max Scherzer was perfect. It was actually vintage Max, best outing he's had in a while. It was like, okay,
11 Ks, right?
It's still in there. Mm-hmm.
11 Ks, bro. That's
still in there.
It's there.
In case anybody's curious, Austin is a career 1 for 9 against Max Scherzer.
Yo, hold up. You ain't just gonna hit me with no. That's the official, on record. Let's talk about the off record at bats. We had some. Hey, I faced him in the Arizona Fall League, and I got him too. Yeah, they don't show up. No, they don't care about that. Ain't nobody watching that. Got him. I got Max twice. So
wow.
Yeah,
the resume is a little bit longer than just what you find on Baseball Reference. I imagine, especially spring training and live BP and all that stuff. So I mean it's still fun to watch. Still a good memory of a fun era of Tigers baseball, and which is why we like doing this with you, Austin. It's calls back to a fun memory of Tigers baseball. Real quick, Cody, wrap up a couple things. Tie some knots here. Tigers are giving Melton start number 2 on Monday. Casey Mize, they're calling it knee soreness. Don't want to speculate about injuries, but it seems like everyone's
in theory he is good to go, but with whatever knee stiffness he encountered, it basically just pushed all his routines back a day. So he's going back a day in the rotation. I'm told that the knee is all good though.
Did you get a chance to talk to Melton at all?
No, I'll be honest, because he was not in big league spring training, and then he debuted in Pittsburgh. I wasn't on that road trip, and then he just kind of appeared, and I was like, wait, I don't know this guy. Like, I've never met him in my life, and I guess I probably should have introduced myself and made some awkward small talk or something. But I still haven't ever talked to Trey Melton, so I will change that as soon as tomorrow.
What about any news? We haven't really talked trade deadline, so I don't want to go through an episode without talking about the trade deadline.
That's what everyone's focused on this time of year. As of the time we record this, it's pretty quiet in Tigers land. You're not seeing much out there regarding the Tigers. I still believe that the bullpen is probably their area of focus. I think that's the question. Who are they actually after? Is this stuff going to go down to the deadline? I think they're going to get 2 relievers. If it were me, I think they should go get one real dude, a Ryan Helsley type. And then if you want one of your projects, one of these lesser known guys, who I'm not saying that would be a bad pitcher, maybe get one of those guys too. Someone a little off the radar that maybe we can't think of right now off the top of our head. But I think there's a case to get one legit swing and miss, proven leverage experience, bullpen arm. We've talked about the Tigers aren't going to be aggressive. They're not going to make a huge splash. But I think that may be the litmus for how real they're being at the deadline. Is it going to be 2 kind of cute acquisitions, or is there going to be at least one guy that you really feel good about?
Cody, okay, so you're saying that you're talking about from a pitcher standpoint, but what about from an offensive standpoint? Do you think they go get a solid bat? I don't know. I went back and forth with this because I'm like, man, because I know they got a lot of future pieces that can,
right?
That a lot of people are really excited about. You know what I mean? They got some prospects. You know what I mean? They gonna have to give somebody up. They're gonna have to give somebody up to get a solid dude in there. You know what I mean? What do you think about that? You think that they take a little splash in that?
I'm not counting on it. Kieran and I have talked a lot about this, talk about going back and forth on it. Yeah, welcome to the club there, because I think it's a hard question to answer, right? They're not trading any of their big prospects. I think we can feel pretty confident about that. The question is like, will they get something, what's the answer? There's actually not, it's not like there's a Juan Soto on the trade market this year. There's Suarez, who we've talked about. My read feels unlikely unless that's just being undersold. And then you look at, okay, well, is there another bat that fits? Some of the platoon names I've mentioned, Randall Grichuk, Ahmad Rosario, they're already gone. Is there another player who fits their construction? Because I think they want to keep their roster versatile. But, I think there's a case that you can strengthen this offense without giving up too much. Look at some of these deals that have already gone down. The returns have not been major. But it's then it's also okay, well, are you willing to give up any asset for just a platoon bat who maybe ends up being better than Jahmai Jones?
Yeah.
And there's another thought, too. What if can you add a bat as insurance for Javi or Meadows if they don't pick it up? Someone who can play one of those positions or lighten the load on, I don't know. I think it's a really hard one. My read is not that they are going to get a bat or not get a bat. I think maybe it's 50-50. And I think it really is going to have to be the right player for the right price. I'll be fascinated to see what they actually do there.
What about a Nolan?
Ooh, I don't know, Austin. Would you? I don't know.
I'm just saying. I just thought about this, and he has constructed his contract right to where he has the no trade, right? But you got a veteran leader right there, right? A solid. He can still play a solid third base. And that's been kind of the thing with the Tigers and moving a lot of people around. I think there's still enough left in the bat. And I think it possibly could be a ignition for the rest of his, career. I don't know, put him on a team like that with the Tigers. You got a lot of young dudes, you got some veteran guys there and they play. I don't know why that just kind of jumped to my brain that not too long ago. I was looking, like, what about Nolan though? That'd be a solid little third base. You won't have to give up that much. The Tigers, I don't know if they would love it, but I think that as far as, having a solidified everyday third baseman, and I don't even know if he plays there every day or if he's going to DH, some to take a little load off those legs a little bit. But hey, I think he still has enough left in the tank. It's just something to kind of, take a little gander at,
Well, there's nothing wrong with adding to your defense. We talk about pitching, we talk about, hitters, but there's actually nothing wrong with getting better defensively either.
Right.
And I think that's part of the reason why the Yankees went and got McMahon is because, there's some contractual stuff there and price point and all that stuff.
Sure.
But at the same time, they were like, okay, well, we're going to get a top 10, I think, third baseman based on, some metrics, or Suarez, who is one of the worst, again, according to some metrics. So I think if there's a way to get solidify your defense in whatever position, I don't think you should turn a blind eye to that possibility, just speaking generally.
Yeah. I think with Arenado, there are a few key factors. One, he didn't seem to want to come to Detroit this winter, and he nixed a deal to Houston. Looking like his mistake on maybe both of those fronts. I'm not saying the Tigers were ever close, but he was very picky about where he wanted to go. And look at you now. So he changed his mind. Would the team want him at this point?
Yeah.
He's under team control for 2 additional seasons, which you could view as a good thing. Hey, we get this guy for next year. Or you could view as a bad thing because you're not as flexible with what you can do going forward. And then it's he's going to make 29 million, 27 million next year. Are the Cardinals, how much of that are they going to eat? And then the third, even though he's a legit everyday third baseman, just like the Suarez conversation, do you want to limit your whole versatility, mix and match, yada, yada, for Nolan Arenado? Is he good enough to justify that? I don't have the answer to that question, but I think those are all the factors at play. And then when I think about that, I'm like, man, that's a lot of factors. Yeah. So unless they just love him,
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of see it happening. I
just want to throw it out there, create a little chaos a little bit.
There you go.
Just throw it out there, you know.
You're really in the media now, Austin.
Yeah, I'm in there, baby. I'm in there, man. I'm in the group. I get to get in the group and see what y'all talk about, man. Yeah. I got
a lot of fun when everything's just a possibility and everything's in front of you, and it's like, hey, could this work? And then when one of those ideas like comes through or is incorrect, you're like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
I know,
did
Paul.
that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I mean, of course, Nolan. That was the key. That was the key to it, right? Yeah, all of that. I knew that.
Exactly. All right, that was a lot of fun discussion. As always, love doing this podcast with you guys. You can go to tigerterritoryshop.com and get you some Tiger Territory merch, the store that just launched this week. We're very excited about that. As always, please follow us, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate all of you. So for Austin Jackson, Cody Stavenhagen, I'm Kieran Steckley. Everybody have a great day.